Welcome everybody. How we doing? My name is Sadai Keita. Welcome to my first official channel on my YouTube page, music channel. Just gonna, talk about music, and that's really just kind of what it is. Just my opinion on things, things that I'm looking at, things that are interesting, and just kind of going on in the music industry. So I guess to kind of just start off, it's a brand new year, 2025. So I just kind of wanted to do a quick recap of my favorite albums of last year in 2024, just to kind of give you guys just an idea of what I listen to, what I like to kind of tap into, where my energy is usually at, and just what I was, bumping last year. It was a great year for music. A lot of things came out, a lot of things that aren't going to be, it's only 5 albums. So there's a lot of things that, didn't make the cut that it hurt me. So, hopefully, we can all just kind of get through it, and talk about it. So, I'm just gonna just kind of get into it. I'm gonna go from 5 to 1. So for number 5, we're gonna do "No Worries," a group with Anderson .Paak and Knowledge, producer, and they had the album "Why Lord," which is for me R&B, soul, alternative, and man, this project for me, man, it was highly anticipated for me. The previous project, "Yes Lord," which came out a couple of years ago. It seems like it was forever ago now. Um, and man, it just had so many soulful samples. It was everything you expected from Knowledge and Anderson .Paak. Honestly, it was everything that you expected with the soulful singing from Anderson .Paak. He's kind of been going mainstream with a lot of his other collaborations lately. So it was really refreshing just to kind of hear him go back to his soulful, scratchy sounding roots with the hip hop beats. He's got some bars on there as well. Super, just everything I expected. For me personally, it's been a long time coming. I've still been playing their last album, so just kind of adding it into my rotation of things. I was super just blessed to kind of be a part of that, and I was really happy that it came out. So shout out to Knowledge and Anderson .Paak for putting out a dope project. Very soulful, very old school. A lot of samples. Snoop Dogg guest features, her features on there with the R&B soul, Earl Sweatshirt, for the weird hip hop heads out there. It was great album for sure, for sure. So then the next one we're gonna do, this is tough, even just having this one so far back. Freddie Gibbs, "You Only Die Once," and man, for me, I think the only reason it's so far back is just because it came out a little bit later in the year, and I also got to it late. So just, my digestion process of the album wasn't as long as I would have liked for it to have been. But man, like, I mean, if you just talking just, I mean, the ability to rap, I mean, this guy is he's just on a different level, man. And, I love how it was a continuation of an album a couple years ago. Actually, it's probably been about 8, 9 years now. A couple projects ago for Freddie Gibbs as well, because the album is called "You Only Die Once," but he had another album, "You Only Live Twice," and that was one of my favorites. So even not even really understanding I had to kind of realize that later down the line that they're continuation albums. And but I mean, just the level of rapping on this is just top tier, man. You're just talking just the ability to pick up a microphone and just spit. He's on a different level, man. And the one of the first songs, Cosmo Freestyle, one of my most played songs all year, and it came out super late. But it's just too smooth, man, too good. And he's getting into his introspective bag. He's been going through a lot of things outside of music. Things that we don't really need to talk about, but just him overcoming that because he's a human. He's got all this gangster shit element to him, but in this one, he's just like, yo, man, like, I've been going through some shit and I'm trying to get out of it, and this is what I had to do to get out of it, man. And I love it personally. It's an amazing album, great rapping. I don't think anyone like just you talk about just the skill of rapping. Man, he's been doing it for a long time now too. He has a song on there where he speaks on, when Nipsey Hussle passed away, and he talked about that being his peer. And that was interesting, man, because I forgot they were on the double XL freshman list together years ago. And, he talks about when it happens to your peers, how that, is traumatizing. And I was like, man, like Freddie's really just been doing this for so long, man. And he's only been getting better. And I love that. I love that for him in his career. And yeah, a great project, great project. "You Only Die Once." So the next one, man, I mean, we got to talk about it. The West Coast has been killing it this year. I'm just going to go ahead and get this out the way. Kendrick is not going to be on this list with the GNX. It's just not. It's not on there because I am a TDE fan, but I just feel like, Schoolboy Q and Blue Lips, man, what he did with that. For me, it was just one of those albums, man, where wow, he just really just tapped into his alternative lyrical bag. He's a gangster rapper. That one thing about Schoolboy Q for me is that he is one of the how can I put this? He's a gangster rapper, but he has an alternative style. He's one of the most alternative gangster rappers I've ever heard. He still all got that West Coast gangster shit with him. But man, he just like it's always some weird different element with his music on the album. There's always some weird dope theme that he gets out of his own lane, but he still sticks to Schoolboy Q shit. And man, I just love it, man. I don't even really know like what Blue Lips means, or like I'm not understanding like the concept of it. The shit is just hard. And it's one of those albums where you gotta just like play it front to back. You can't skip it. You know what I mean? You can't just throw it in your shuffle with all this. You got to go through it front to back. And that's when you really truly appreciate the artistry of this man. And like, wow, like such a good album for me, highly anticipated for me. I'm a huge Black Hippie TDE fan, you know what I'm saying? And, that Schoolboy Q Blue Lips is super high level producing, super high level rapping. It's got that weird soul with like this rock element with it as well. Just, super alternative, a very tough listen, not something that you can just start bumping with your homies and riding. So no, like you really got to sit down and, look up some certain lyrics and figure out, what is kind of going on. But then you can ride to it too. It's got those bangers on there. You can just ride to it. But it's just, it's like Dijon mustard. It's a certain palate to it, man, where you have to really be able to digest it. But I love it. I love that album. And, I think a lot of the people really enjoyed it as well. People who are just true hip hop fans. I think a lot of people really tapped into it. And I love that for him. It wasn't some super crazy charting, whatever. But when you talk to people about that Schoolboy Q Blue Lips album, people are like, man, it was, even if you didn't like it, you could just tell there was good music in there because just the way it was sounding, the way it was made, and even the way he promoted it. His promotion was top tier level. If you go back and look at some of those promotion videos, amazing. So great record, great record. And then next up, man, we got to go with, his TDE brother. Like I said, I'm not putting the GNX Kendrick album on here. It's only 5 of them, only 5 albums, and it's my list, so, it's just not up there. And for me, Absol is creme de la creme, one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite rappers. So him dropping Soul Burger this year, for me was amazing. I don't really know what else to say, man. He has some great records on there. Absol intelligent movement level bars, you know what I mean? But I think what made this one special, I heard a lot of people who weren't Absol fans coming to me and bringing this one up. It's like, man, he really did his thing. For this one was one of his favorite projects. It was one of the favorite projects because it was an easier listen. He was able to portray this intelligent message with the bars and the metaphors and the double triple entendres, but still put it in a way where people could really just understand and listen to it. That's kind of been his, I guess, I don't want to say downfall, but that's just something that people, are turned off by when it comes to his music, because he's a real spitter, and he's really taking his time with his lyrics and his words to really get a message across. And some people just can't handle it. I feel like for this album, he's really starting to figure out how to bridge that gap. You know what I mean? And it was just amazing. And obviously, if you're really an Absol fan, about his story, one of his personal friends, you know what I mean, tragically passed away. So bringing that together on the album, he was just rapping from a higher power, and there's really, it's almost just like his homeboy was with him and he was just getting all that stuff out of there, man. And the documentary that came out with it, amazing. So I'm really honestly excited to see where Absol goes next with this, because he just dropped the album last year and then came out with this, and this was an amazing project. And I'm really interested to see like the next step he takes, because like I said, he's trying to figure out that bridging that gap. I really want to see where he takes it on the next go round, man. So I'm really hoping he's enjoying the time. I'm hoping for a tour, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm really hoping for a tour, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's number 2 for me. But number one, this was tough, but when I just look back at what I was listening to all year, it never left rotation. I felt like I could play it anywhere. People were talking about it. It was involved with everything that happened this summer with the Drake and the Kendrick situation. I'm going to have to go with J. Cole, Might Delete Later. Now, a lot of people, obviously with everything that happened, when he kind of backed out, took the song off, the Kendrick diss off the album. You know, that was, I feel like that really overshadowed what this project really was, man. And I'm not some super like J. Cole loving stan. I'm not listening to every YouTube freestyle he drops and all that kind of. I'm not that guy. I'm just not that type of guy. But with, I think we're just with this album, man, we're just witnessing a legend just getting better every single time. Just figuring out how to do it himself, produce everything himself, no features, nothing crazy like that. He had some features, you know what I mean? But like, you know, singing, song, but he's rapping on every track and he's doing it himself. And it's just amazing to see. For me, it was just amazing to see a legend get, I feel like this is his best project. I feel like this is his best project. I know Forest Hills Drive and Friday Night Lights, warm up, all that kind of stuff. I know. But man, like, if you just listen to the production, the music, and you know, I know a lot of people said it was just okay, but for me, man, the replay value, the lyricism, the production, the ability that he's doing it on his own, everything that all these J. Cole fans have been saying, it was just, you know, I played it all year. And I think I love that, it's Grammy nominated, hip hop album of the year nomination, which I love. I love that for J. Cole. And that's the thing about it. I think this is happening to a person who is, representing hip hop in the best way possible. This is somebody who, he's just a good guy. He's just a good guy. You know what I mean? He's just a good man, regular dude, making music on the beach, riding his bike, married, and you need that in hip hop. You need relatability. There's a lot of, bitches and hoes and drugs and money and all this other stuff and businessmen, this, that, and I get it. And that is hip hop. You know what I mean? And J. Cole has that alpha dog in him, but he was just someone who just kept his head down and worked his ass off and stayed humble to the game. You know what I mean? And that's what I love most about J. Cole. And, this album for me just represents someone who just stayed true to the game, stayed true to himself, and just got better and just getting better every time he drops an album. So for me, J. Cole, My Delete Later, amazing, man. Absolutely amazing project. And that's the number one album for me of 2024. Now, a lot of things drop, so I gotta get some honorable mentions out there. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar, GNX, probably the biggest album of the year in the hip hop world. He had the biggest year I've seen in a long time by any artist. Absolutely amazing. The Drake beef, the Super Bowl announcement, the album GNX, it's absolutely great. Tyler Chromacopia, for me, wasn't the biggest fan. I was great. It was a great album. I'll say this. It was a great album, great music, great quality, the production. He didn't half-ass anything. He stuck his foot in there. He worked his ass off for it. But we talking about, my list, my favorite albums, and for me, I just like when Tyler's rapping. Man. All this singing shit, it's just not really, you know what I mean? Like I got other people who be singing that I'm really rock with. This singy songy stuff, Tyler Beyond, it's just not really. I like when he's rapping. That's just me. Someone who is a singer that I love is Sir Heavy, super soulful TDE artist. The West Coast just killed it this year with Tyler as well. West Coast killed it this year, you know what I mean? And Sir was just another one, Inglewood native, who held it down in the TDE label, R&B guy, super old school, super heavy, but man, I think he's really just kind of holding the torch for, the new acts in the R&B world right now, you know what I mean? I'm not the biggest R&B head, but Sir is someone who just has this natural raw voice and just natural content, and it's not, there's love in there too, and there's also, I guess, I've been, when a man's messing up in his life, he's got that pain reflective music as well. So for me, Sir was really, really a great album, the album Heavy. So that's another one. Eminem, that's a Slim Shady. I mean, dude, what are we talking about? There's no Eminem slander over here. Probably going to win album of the year at the Grammys. Amazing story. I love the self-sabotage with the, showing why this is over and why he don't make this corny ass music anymore. Absolutely amazing. Doechii had an amazing year, probably new artist of the year. You know what I mean? High contender to win album of the year as well. Alligator Bites Never Heal. I mean, I don't want to compare, but that Lauren Hill esque energy, it's there. You know what I mean? She is Doechii. She is herself. She does her own thing. She don't sound like Lauren Hill, but just that energy. You know what I mean? Just that independent. You know what I'm saying? I do it all myself. I'm artistic. I do it how I want. I don't need no one's help. Like that. I love it. I love it. And it was tough to not put her in top 5 albums of the year. Yeah, and that's all I got really for I guess some honorable mentions. But yeah, it was a big year last year for hip hop. So I'm excited for this year. A lot of things that we're looking forward to. Hopefully, the New York can kind of get back into the mix a little bit. I don't know where New York is at. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Joey Badass with the rule is back. So yeah, I love that. So we see what's gonna happen, man. But the West Coast smoked it last year. The West Coast smoked it last year. So we hopefully, I would love to see New York kind of get back into the mix. Chicago, Chicago when I was in high school, Chicago was running it. So, there's a lot of things, that I'm looking to see what kind of happen. But for last year, man, West Coast, got to give them the props. Got to give them the props. So that's it for me. Thanks for caring. Appreciate y'all. See you next time.